Hey, my name is Ridwan. This is Brinder, and you're watching R&B Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about Black Widow. And make sure to catch us on our podcast too, in case you don't like to watch the video format. We're on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, so you can catch us there. And then we have our RSS feed, so if you want to use like the net, you can use the link below too. So we're going to go back to Brinder. Well, not back to Brinder. We're going to start with Brinder, and then let us know what you think of the show.
So I really enjoyed it. Overall, it was entertaining. I went in not watching any trailers. I try to stay away from that stuff because it gives me too much information that I don't want right out the gate. So I just went into it thinking it's going to be a movie about a side character of the main Avengers. I didn't really pay too much attention, but I found myself enjoying it, laughing, and then some serious moments, like really paying attention. Overall, I enjoyed the whole concept of it. How about you?
I didn't enjoy the movie. Like, I don't want to say I didn't enjoy the movie at all. I thought the action scenes were like A1, but like the overall story, it just wasn't it for me. Like especially like the family stuff, I just wasn't a fan of like all that family stuff. I thought a lot of the family stuff was corny, and
and you're for corny stuff.
And but like it was corny in a way that I just couldn't understand. Like I couldn't relate to that family, and maybe because a Russian family dynamic is different, so I couldn't relate to like that Russian family dynamic. So I was like, damn, like I was like what is going on here?
They seem to make it like just regular family stuff. I didn't take it as like Russian.
Like she was yelling at her mom and dad, like that didn't, I couldn't relate. Okay. I couldn't relate, and I'm not to like pick at it, but like just like that whole situation wasn't relatable. But now that you mentioned that, like Yelena was more relatable like in that family like aspect of things than anything else. So like I could kind of like not relate but understand like Yelena, but like the other aspects of the family, I'm just like, nah, like I really don't understand or like get.
I really enjoy the family stuff. That was like entertaining. That was funny to me, especially like early on. It was I thought it was an actual family system sister, and like I thought they were actually sisters. And then they flashed back to it later on, when they're sitting in the house and they're talking. The dad's trying to fit into his old like costume, and that could be like a dad trying to fit into his old like prom uniform or whatever. And then he was telling like the wife or the pretend wife, hey, I just got out of prison, I have a lot of energy. And she's like, oh, and then they're like, don't do that in front of me. Those things, like it was like watching just regular TV show. Like, have you watched 8 Simple Rules?
Yeah.
It's like something like that. It was cool. It was funny to watch overall.
To be honest, when you say like 8 Simple Rules, yeah, but I was like, I don't know, like, but you didn't watch the trailers really, and I watched the trailers, so I was hoping like the show would be a little bit more on like the go mode. Like I was hoping like they're gonna be like on the hunt and continuously searching for like the Red Room. So like what I seen when there was like so much family dynamic, like I wasn't really a fan of. And like there's certain action scenes though that I felt like I was like, yo, this is impossible, or this doesn't make sense. Yeah, and that stuff was like, and I don't usually catch those things too. So like for me, I never catch those things. But I was watching, I was like, nah, like this doesn't make sense. And then they also actually, what did you think of the Taskmaster when you seen him?
I was like, okay, so this is the Taskmaster. Like I didn't really know too much about Taskmaster. Ridwan knows about it. He has the comic book knowledge. That's his like favorite thing. We asked him like, just generally speaking, what power would you want? And he said Taskmaster power.
It makes sense though.
This movie makes it seem like he should regret that.
No, it does not. It doesn't do that. But continue.
So I was watching it. I'm like, all right, this is the infamous Taskmaster. Right from the beginning, it made it seem like he was just like a computer, etc. He fights. And then I paused it on the scene where he looks at Natasha Romanoff right in the beginning as they fight, and he was like gauging like threat, a percentage of like where she's gonna attack from, things like that. And I was like, you know what, this is pretty lame. Like I feel bad for Ridwan because he put a lot of value into this character, and then later on it's shown that it's Dreykov's daughter.
I hated that.
And like it was not saying like a female can be a sick character, but it was like, I don't think it's a female. I think it's a guy in the comics.
Yeah, right? It is a guy in the comics.
I forget his name, but it's a guy, and he has the ability to like just copy. Well,
he has like photographic memory, but not exactly
photographic reflexes or something.
Yeah.
So then it's a computer, so
and she's controlled by like a chip like in her mind, so she's not even naturally like
it's a computer that's pretty much doing a lot of the work, and it's like, you know what, that just makes it even lamer. Like
it was so lame. Like when they revealed who Taskmaster was, I was like, oh lord. And like the original Taskmaster is about getting his bag too. So like when he was fighting the first time, I even told my brothers like, yo, this is the guy. Like he's just fighting her to get his bag. So then when I realized it's like a controlled person, then I was like, nah, this is like so lame. But the Taskmaster didn't lose. Well, I want to say they didn't really lose a fight. Actually, now that I think about it, no, they didn't. The Taskmaster didn't lose a fight.
She didn't. She didn't win a fight either.
She won the first one. When she had to get the case, the briefcase.
She didn't get it.
She got the briefcase, but she didn't know that she had the stuff. No, but she won that fight. And then when she was fighting,
you can easily say Natasha let her win that fight because she had the content. She let her just get the briefcase.
Okay, you can say that. But she couldn't. You knew watching that fight that Natasha couldn't beat the Taskmaster.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
And then they fought. Where else did they fight? Then they fought. They didn't fight in the prison.
Taskmaster fought the Red Guardian.
Was that the second fight?
That's pretty much the second fight, and then she fights Natasha after. It was just limited to there's a chase, Taskmaster chase Yelena.
Oh yeah, through the thing, and then the Taskmaster didn't run at all. The Taskmaster was just walking. But I was like, whatever.
That's not really a win.
That wasn't a win. But they tried to fight, but they couldn't. Like the Taskmaster just couldn't lose. The only time he lost is when he got not sidetracked. What's the word I'm looking for? He got hit from the back from, I think it was Yelena or Black Widow. They put the Taskmaster in prison.
Oh, that was Melina.
Yeah, and then after they locked the Taskmaster in the prison, that one I was like, okay, like he was gonna beat the Red Guardian, but he got attacked from behind. But they completely ruined that idea of what I thought the Taskmaster was. And I know they'll never bring the Taskmaster back, like the original Taskmaster.
The original's gone. Sick. Like he's not gonna be.
Yeah, it's actually so terrible.
This Taskmaster can come back in certain ways. Like we might be able to see him later on, but it's like it doesn't really matter. Like
I didn't. That's not who I wanted to see. But the fight scenes were pretty sick.
The fights were pretty cool, and I know the scenes that you're talking about where it's like, how can this even happen? Like things like that. Like we get it's a superhero movie, but like Marvel's done pretty well to like.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Pretty decent, bro. She jumped off I thought it was helicarrier in the beginning because she jumped off the flying ship and then goes straight through a broken plane that's like spinning. She goes through that. Now she's fine. And then she puts the parachute on her sister. Her sister like flies down normally, and then the other Taskmaster attacks Black Widow.
That was sick when the Taskmaster attacked.
And then she pulls up shoot, and then they land like pretty decently. And I'm like, yo, come on, bro.
The vial's on the ground unbroken, and then she like breaks the vial to like. Yeah. Why did the Taskmaster get like? Why was the vial almost killed the Taskmaster?
With me kill her.
Like she broke the vial. Like everyone else, when they sniffed like that concoction or that formula, they just like, well, like, oh, like I'm not controlled anymore. But they were normal, they were healthy. But it looked like the Taskmaster got a bit of that vial and then like stopped fighting. Nothing else happened. Like she just like kind of collapsed. Like it looked like she was on the brink of death.
She's probably tired. Like the way the mind controlling works is like even if you're in hurt, like you're programmed to do it regardless.
Oh, that's true.
So she was just fighting off of like what the programming was telling her, even if her body couldn't sustain it.
That makes sense.
And then explode. She just collapses. She's tired. She needs help.
That makes sense. I thought that was kind of dumb.
Bro, you didn't find the Red Guardian funny? Yo, that was like, it was a really comedic movie. Like it was so funny.
You actually found it super funny? I thought it was
jokes. Yo, the man's like, he's talking about, we see Alexei Shostakov, whatever.
Yeah.
We see him in prison telling like war stories about him fighting Captain America.
Yeah.
So then the guy says, yo, what year was that? 83, 84? Wasn't he still in ICE? and he's like, "You think you know things?"
And then that scene in prison was pretty funny. Like when he almost like lost the arm wrestling match, and then he's just like, so, oh, and then he slammed it. Then he's like, this guy thought he was gonna win and started laughing. That was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Or when he gets rescued by Yelena and Natasha, and then Yelena just hits him one time. She's like, "Oh, what is it? Your time a month again?" And then she explains like, "No, what they do is they take the whole thing, they
break it. I thought that was all right.
Yo, that shit was mad funny to me. It was just jokes.
I didn't even know he was a father at that time.
Huh?
I didn't know he was a father when they picked him up and he was in the helicarrier. I thought he was like an agent, so I was like, "Oh, what the hell?" Like, I didn't know their dynamic until later on.
Oh no, yeah, I picked that up right away, and then it was just funny. He's like, "Yo, she says, oh, Yelena says, we don't have enough gas to get there," and he's like, "Well, we got enough. Don't even worry about it." And he doesn't even look at the gas thing. It's like a regular dad thing to do. He's like, "Yeah, we'll be good." And then they smoke the ship, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys should have bought the Quinjet or something."
I didn't. That part I don't think I heard. But when he said the gas thing, like, "Oh, we don't have enough gas," I didn't find it funny, but I liked it because I was like, "Oh, that's like I did exactly what Yelena would do." I was like, "Okay, we don't have enough gas, bet I'm just gonna keep flying.
Just keep flying.
I'm gonna keep flying. Then when it crashes, then you'll know, like, yo, we don't have enough gas." So
or like when he's like, "Natasha, come here, I have to talk to you," and then he's talking to her. He's like, "Did he ever mention me?"
Oh, that I didn't find that funny. I'm sorry. I feel bad now.
Cause she's like, what's
that's what you're gonna ask after being locked up?
Yeah. After not seeing us for like 20 plus years, that's what you're gonna ask?
I didn't find that funny.
Bro, he made it seem just jokes. I like the whole accent thing. Yelena was funny. Like she was herself, she was just jokes.
You know what? Okay, I might have ruined it for myself. So Yelena isn't actually the actor that plays Yelena isn't Russian.
Yeah.
I didn't. So when I was like halfway through the show, I was like, "Yo, I wonder if she's actually Russian." And I pulled her up, and she wasn't Russian, but her character was really good. Like, I liked everything about her character. I think her acting was good. I think her character was sick in how she approached like fights and stuff like that. And then like her character was sick in how she approached adversity, but I just didn't like. That was it. I don't have anything bad to say about the character. I don't like how she wasn't Russian though.
The prison scene where she's like, "Yo, move your fat ass, like get up to the third level," and this guy was like tired and stuff because he wasn't really.
Yeah, I was like, yo, how is this guy not gonna be able to do that?
And then like she's like Yelena's driving the chopper and she's like messing up. She's going around and cause she's getting shot at, and then she like Natasha's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and then most people would say like, "Fuck, I'm doing my best. Like, I'm getting shot at. What do you think?" She's like, "We're both doing great." And then she just put her hand up. I don't know. The whole movie was just mad funny.
I did like the one where she's like, "Oh,
you're a poser." When
she was getting saved, the poser thing was funny. Yeah. And then after when she's just like, she was bleeding, and then after she's like, "Oh, we don't have time to like stop the blood right now," and then she's like, "Oh, like my favorite part is when I almost bled to death."
Yeah.
That part was kind of funny.
That's something you would say too.
That is. So I think I like that part, but that was more so the sister dynamic. I don't know if I said in this one, but the sister dynamic I really liked. Like I thought was really good. But the family dynamic, even with the mom, I did think the mom snaked. But before we even get to that, who did you like more? Like when you watched, like, did you like Widow more or Yelena more?
I thought Yelena was sick.
Easily, right?
And she was like, she's bad. Like,
yeah, she's way bad.
I liked her. So, I don't know what it is. Like, Scarlett Johansson is like, she's an attractive person. Yeah. And she has a nice face. But like, I feel like the culmination of everything and like the time I've seen her, like, it's whatever.
She's not as nice as Yelena. I think it's because she's beside Yelena. Usually she's the main like baddie in the movies.
Prior to this, I've never really like maybe the first one, and then after that I was like, I think the first Iron Man, I'm like, she's sick, and then
was she in the first Iron Man?
Oh, sorry, the second Iron Man, she was sick, and then after that it was like,
not really a huge fan, right?
It's not a big deal to me, like overall. Yelena was sick, and then she was like, even when she did, like, she's like, "Oh, you're a poser. You're certainly a poser. Yeah. Like, who does this stuff?" And then she did it at the end, like, close to the end. Yeah, I
remember seeing that.
And then she's like,
"Oh, what am I doing?" I like that. Yeah, her character is pretty cool.
Yeah, she was jokes.
I want to see her in, like, more stuff. I want to see her and Baron Zemo, like,
so that was your favorite character. What did you think about the villain? Dreykov.
Dreykov, like the fat guy?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think it's fair to really call him a villain. Like, we see him towards the end, and he was like a villain in the past, and then like towards the end we see him a little bit, and they have that conversation.
He was in the shadows, as he said.
Yeah, like I wasn't really like a fan of like like he didn't seem so like that significant to me. Even the story, though the story was centered around him being the villain, like his significance to me wasn't like super sick. He didn't leave like an impression on me. Like he's super forgettable.
The one thing he left was like I thought he was more ruthless than Thanos. Like just the word ruthless.
You just thinking about it?
Just thinking about it, because like Thanos at least like he cared some, like his reasoning was like, I want life to continue growing, and at the rate we're growing, at the rate we're growing, everything's gonna be like all the resources are gonna be gone, and people are just gonna die off. How about we cut everything in half, and then the people, like, it sucks for the people that die, but it's random. Yeah. But the people that survive can survive for longer. Like they can continue on. So life is continuing. While Dreykov is like, yeah, I just want to control everything. I'm gonna take these girls and just control their minds completely, and if I can get an Avenger, think of what I can do. I can control the whole world. I already control everything pretty much realistically, but I can control so much more. And he does not care about the girls himself. He turned his daughter into Taskmaster.
That was crazy. You know what that reminds me of? It's a spoiler. You skip 10 seconds. Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Brotherhood. Yeah, the anime.
What about it?
There's a very early like episode, and there's a doctor.
Yeah.
And he has you watched it, right?
I watched.
He has a daughter. It was mad long ago.
He turned his daughter into something.
Yeah.
I do remember it, but I don't remember the faces. If you see the scene,
you'll remember it 100%.
Yeah.
But that's what that reminds me of. But like I don't know. I guess I said that just to say that, but like no, like even when he's telling the story about his control and stuff, like it didn't really like hit me. Like he was mad forgettable.
But he is more ruthless. Like Thanos would even care.
He wouldn't do that to his daughter. He wouldn't like try and like control people. Like, well, he would, but not like the way he was, like taking over their minds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was sacrificing so many like girls and stuff like that. I was like, that's crazy.
Did you notice any Easter eggs?
There was one, but I didn't notice them.
Which one do you know about?
It's like something about like a woman and a bear or something like that.
A woman and a bear.
But I don't think it's a Marvel Easter egg. I think it's like a Russian Easter egg.
Oh, I've noticed a few Easter eggs like pertaining to other things that are happening. There's most of them skip my mind, but overall it was like there were some here and there that was pretty entertaining.
Really?
Yeah.
Related to like the Marvel ones?
No, like just to Marvel, like Red Guardian had like certain tattoos, and he was. There's just certain things, little things, not major or anything in that facet.
Not like the Loki episode 5.
What were the Easter eggs?
The Easter eggs was
Loki Easter eggs look probably like one of the better Easter eggs. Yeah. Overall.
I'm not saying that to say anything. I'm just saying like I
know you want to prove
No. I'm just saying the Easter eggs. But I said in the last one, it's easier to make Easter eggs in Loki because you could put whatever you want there, and it would make sense.
Make a nod to every comic book, realistic. I remember when you were telling me about like a statue, the Negotiator. I don't know if it was the same thing we're thinking about, or I'm thinking about, but I read that it was the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, that was it.
The Negotiator is so much different. Like that, I don't even know what a Negotiator is.
I don't know. It sounds Living Tribunal, Negotiator. You know, that's close.
He makes pretty much the judgments of thing. He's like more than just a celestial, something like that. He's one of the biggest parts of the Marvel universe.
I wonder if they're gonna make a nod to that, but I don't like not a nod to it, but like he's gonna be present in that show in some part. But maybe it was just an Easter egg.
I think it's just gonna be Easter egg to make it like shows aren't gonna have like nods to these crazy characters. This is gonna have to be like we're gonna have to see Galactus and then continue on. What were your other characters? We know you like Yelena, but anybody else?
Yelena, I didn't like the mom.
I thought the mom was bad early on.
I thought the mom was bad, like early on, like in the first clip, and then like when she got dressed into like the spy outfit, I was like, nah, she's bad. Like when she was just like chilling normally like a mom, I was like, oh, she's whatever. Then when she got into like the outfit, I'm like, nah, she's kind of bad still.
Yeah, she's nice.
Just they did a huge transformation, but I'm trying to think if I liked any other characters. I don't think any like I liked Taskmaster in the beginning, but I didn't like Taskmaster character in the end. Like in the first fight, I'm like, no, Taskmaster is nasty. I was like, he's just copying every move. I'm like, because I thought they were gonna make him like get hit, because he can predict literally what you're gonna do. You can't, like, as long as he's seen you fight, he knows what you're gonna do. I thought the movie was gonna have a part where they're like, I fight, but like, you know, like Naruto or like My Hero will do this, like, oh, I need to fight but not predict what I'm gonna do. I need to just throw random moves, so I don't know what I'm doing, so they can't know. But anyways, no, like Taskmaster I liked in the beginning. Yelena, there wasn't a lot of different characters to. I like the guy that was helping like Widow. I thought he was pretty cool.
He was cool, yeah.
And like fencing things.
Where he gets all these things.
Yeah, I wonder like what's connect to, and I wonder how much money Widow gave him to get the jet in the end.
No booze.
Like I'm like, bro, like that's not $250,000. Like
that's million.
That has to be at least $1 million.
That's under the table too, not just buying the jet. You're under the table, and he has to deliver it to you wherever location you give
which is crazy. So I don't know. Like I was kind of curious, and
but she's been a spy, so she probably loaded.
I think she has access to, but when she joined the Avengers, she probably had to give that up.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nah, she probably had.
She's in her bag.
Yeah, she got her money. Another thing, like a Easter egg, I guess, was Taskmaster in the comics is the villain in Iron Man 2, Ivan Drago.
The one with the
yeah. So in the comics, it's his dad's name. I think it's Ivan or something.
Yeah.
It's a Russian name. His dad's name is the Taskmaster. What they could have done better for Taskmaster and for you is instead of making his daughter, let's say like, yeah, Natasha killed the daughter, like, yeah, she was gone, R.I.P. But he had a son that he didn't tell you about.
That would be sick.
And then the son actually had the
power,
actual power. Yeah, like
that would be sick too. Do you think that this show was like?
And he trained him early on, like when he was like 5. Like he just started crazy.
I would have wanted to see that, because that's what the Taskmaster kind of went through.
They could have made it like he went through like Red Room training, but like not as like as
a widow.
As a widow, yeah. Just he went through Red Room training, but it was more so to already cultivate what he already had instead of make him like he still has his reproductive whatever. He still like he didn't go through like the hardships of the Red Room, but he got every positivity out of that, and he has the photogenic reflexes. So now he's just on a different level than Black Widow.
I think that would be sick. And then they could make that character go in other places, and I would care about that character.
Yeah, because now it's like this character can go other ways, but it doesn't really matter. And like realistically, the Taskmaster is on Natasha's level, even if it's like the Taskmaster is better, whatever. It's still on that parallel level. If they did it like how I'm explaining it, Natasha couldn't touch it.
Do you think that now that you said that, because now it clicked something in my mind, do you think that this movie was about like woman empowerment? Like, do you think this movie was targeted towards other women?
I could see it. Like women helping women.
Yeah.
Like free each other. You guys can do whatever you want.
That sister relationship.
Yeah. So I think so. Like it's.
Taskmaster being a female, a woman. Yeah. I wasn't even mad about that. It's just a story behind that. So now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe they set it up to like.
It just wasn't true to comic books.
Yeah, it really did bother me. Now I know how like the people on Reddit feel when they make a character black, and then they're just like, but I'm not really cheesy. I'm not really cheesy that they made it like a woman. The story was just so off that I'm just like, yo.
Did you like where it was set, like the timeline? So this was after Civil War, like directly after Civil War. It did recall things from like 1995. Previously, like 1995 was kind of a big year. This is when like the Korean and Skrull fight was still happening. Captain Marvel was out of there. SHIELD is still like occupied with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the timeline. So those were the flashbacks, and then. It was set after Civil War and prior to the Endgame or Infinity War.
I felt like the timeline, I don't know, like it really was irrelevant to me. Like the timeline, it just didn't get in the way, but it wasn't like I'm like, oh, like I wanted to see them in like this timeline. Like this doesn't fill a gap for me that I cared about. I feel like people who are real like Marvel, like I'm a Marvel fan in a sense, like comic books, but like people who are MCU fans, like to them just fill the gaps of like, oh, where was she during this time? Like, oh, like she took the Quinjet. That's how she got the Quinjet to go pick these guys up. Like, it explains so much for them. But for me, like, I was like, whatever. Like, did you feel like did this like fill in any plot holes that you're like
not that I cared about? Like, it didn't really matter. Like, honestly, like she's still a side character. Like, regardless of anything. You could explain, and you could have just said, oh, how, like if one question was how did she get the Quinjet? You could have just had it in a sentence in the next movie, and like I would have been cool with it. It's whatever. And I feel like I'm a pretty big MCU person. Yeah. So I don't know. It didn't really matter to me.
Did you have like actually I'm gonna save this question for like last, but I'm trying to think of.
Did you notice the jacket? Like that was funny too. Like Yelena was like, oh, do you like this vest? And she's like, no. And then she's like, what are you talking about? Like, there's a lot of pockets.
Yeah, I like really that. I did like that scene. I did like that scene.
You do. And she's like, I do like it. She's like, I knew you liked it. Like, whatever. She gives that jacket to her at the end of the movie. Yeah. And that's the one that she wears coming into Infinity War.
No, I didn't know that.
So it's the same jacket, yeah.
I like Yelena. I want to see her, like, I think... No, I'm going to save this for, like, for the last part. Do you think the Widows were sick? Like... the Widows as like a group, because now they're out in the Marvel universe, so we're probably gonna see them again. But like, how did you feel about the Widows?
They were cool. You can incorporate them like wherever. They didn't show too much light on them. They just showed how many of them. I think there was a YouTube channel that like tried to calculate how much it was when Jacob showed it on the screen. Yeah, and it was like 48 rows. Oh no, 48 rows, and then it was like 3 times the amount across. Maybe even if it's not 3 times across, but they end up saying it was like 7,000
widows.
Yeah, widows. So they're like 7,000 widows at your disposal is an insane army, because they're not just regular soldiers. They're
super sick. Level. Yeah, so and they're spies.
Even if you say 5,000 soldiers, there's a lot. And now I guess they're gonna set each other free, and then most of them probably gonna want to lead like regular lives. Yeah. And then some people are gonna be incorporated into like anti-hero task forces, maybe becoming superheroes, maybe just becoming like part of villains, just taking money. It could be anything. You have them at your disposal for any other storylines.
Widows, who do you like more, Widows or the Black Panther like Black Warriors? Panthers. Way more interesting. They're right?
So much cooler,
so much like,
I don't know what it is. They're just sick. Like even when they say like even Bombay or like, just these words like, yo, Black Panther is like such an elite movie. Like I can't wait to do like a tier list video for just MCU movies.
Black Panther is gonna be one of the top, eh?
It has to be one of the top.
Black Panther was in so well. The villain, fire.
Even white people, like the villain was insane. Like yeah, so
there wasn't another villain. He made it harder for like them to live up to par with like that stuff.
Yeah, he's on like I don't know, like he's on like Thanos level. Like Thanos is way stronger, powerful, he did more damage, etc.
But in terms of
interesting, like a character, bro, like you gotta give it to Eric. What's his last name?
You asked the wrong person.
Eric Stevens? No. Okay, we'll get back to that. But he was sick.
Who what did you want like cause you watched, like you're more in tune with like Marvel. What did you feel like they missed with the Black Widow movie that they should have like covered, or they should have been like in tune with?
The Budapest stuff, like they did go to Budapest, but they didn't say like this was the whole movie to like everybody thought prior to this, like finally they were gonna explain it, because they keep
they didn't explain a lot.
They didn't like. I would like to see Hawkeye and then them, like they could have done like a 1995 flashback, a flashback to Budapest, and what happened, and then continue on.
Were there end credits?
And there's an end credit scene.
What was the end credit scene?
It was Yelena calling over to Fanny, the dog, and then she goes to the grave site. So this is after Endgame. Yeah. And then Val shows up. Val from Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. She shows up and she says, I got you a target. Did you not see it?
I didn't see it because I was on Reddit. Yo, tell me how I'm on Reddit. And then people are like, oh, she's going to be looking for revenge. And I'm like, looking for revenge? Like what happened? Yeah. I'm like, what revenge is she looking for? Then they're like, oh, she's going after... if you haven't seen the end credit scene, like watch it. But she's like, oh, she's going after Barton. And I'm like, Barton? I'm like, that's Hawk. And then someone said Hawkeye. I was like, why in the hell would she be going after Hawkeye? And then so I was like, maybe there's an end credit scene. But I watched like the end credit scene. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched most of them. And I was like, oh, there's no scene that I seen. So I'm thinking like, I'm crazy. Then they're like, why would she even go after him? She should know that they're friends. And then after they're like, yo, there's just so much arguments about like why she would go after him and etc. etc. And she loved her sister, so it makes sense. But Val is
the purple haired girl. She you like her because she was in that old sitcom that you love watching, Seinfeld. That girl.
Oh, remember? Yeah.
So she plays Val. She goes and gets John Walker, makes him the U.S. agent.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to this and she talks to Yelena. And the way that they're talking, she's like, I got your next target. Meaning like she's under hire. And then Yelena says, I want to raise. So I guess they already have a job relationship where she works under Val. So Val says, I got your next target. And she hands her the picture. And it is Hawkeye. And this is Hawkeye picture of him like when he was in Ronin mode. Like when he was like killing like Mexican cartels and like Japanese Yakuza. Like he was just in it. So she says, oh, do you want to get the revenge? This is the person that killed your sister.
And she just believed it? That's crazy.
And she doesn't show her like emotions or anything, but like we assume like she believes it. Yeah. But there's like nothing to tell her not to do it.
Yeah.
Realistic, because she doesn't really talk to Natasha that much. After
That's what someone said.
Yeah, after that situation, she jumps into almost Infinity War. Or bringing back the family, and then Infinity War, and then Endgame happens, and then she dies. So that she doesn't really say too much about like Hawkeye or whatever.
And the Avengers
relationship. Yeah,
I don't know. I did like now like hearing it. Both sides make sense to like why she wants to kill him, why like she shouldn't want to kill him. But I'm like whatever. I can't wait to see her just be in the movie, be in like another show. I find it weird that she had the Russian accent, even though she was raised in Ohio at the youngest age. But I know they're spies, so they can switch the accents up whenever they want. Maybe I'm just a hater when it comes to like the Russian accent.
To be honest, you're right. Like I didn't really pick up on that. She was raised in Ohio. She was raised to speak proper English, and then she went into think maybe it's because when she went to the Red Room, they're all Russian, and then as they're speaking, that accent rubbed off on her. I know when I came back from India, like
I had a little bit of an Indian accent. Yeah. I can see that, but then Natasha didn't. But to be honest, either way, it's cool for me. Like. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking certain things, but
what were your top scenes? Would you like?
There's one when the Taskmaster, I think he was fighting the Red Guardian. He like she does a jump and then like kicks him in like midair. Like she jumps, kicks him in midair, and then does a flip backwards. And I was like, oh, that was pretty sick. When they were fighting on the bridge, I thought the fights on the bridge was pretty sick. Any of the fights with the Taskmaster, I did like the fight in the air, like when they were fighting in the air. I thought that was cool too, not too sick, because it was a little bit too fake for me.
Yeah.
And then I think when Yelena was nasty when she had, I don't know. She's like, oh, what's your plan? She's like, oh, I'm just gonna drive away from them, and then she like turns the wheel.
She like shit plan.
Yeah, and then after kicks the door breaks, and then the door like trips the girl on the motorcycle. I was like, nah, that's nasty.
Yeah, like, and then she's like, you're welcome.
Yeah,
honestly,
that was
that's how
sick.
I feel too. Sometimes I'll be like, over anything, I'll be like, yo, what's the plan? And then they explain the plan in my head. I'm like,
mad dumb.
Sick plan. What the hell? There were some Easter eggs or things to like note. First fight with Natasha and Taskmaster.
Yeah.
So Natasha gets out of the car that's about to like teeter and it's going into the water.
Yeah.
The reason why it doesn't teeter, I was actually questioning this too. The reason why it doesn't teeter, that exact moment, on top of his Taskmaster, that's why it doesn't fall. And then the fights were pretty sick.
Wait, what?
So you know how she gets out of the car on the bridge? Natasha gets out and she was the only thing, the weight that was leaving there.
Yeah.
So if she gets out, the car should have fell into the water.
Yeah.
The reason why it didn't fall is because at that same moment she got out, Taskmaster jumped on top of it.
Oh.
That's how that fight started. So that was pretty sick. The Taskmaster was also doing a lot of like Captain America, Steve Rogers stuff with the shield.
Yeah.
So she was kicking it up, catching it.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah, she was doing like mimicking. Or the fight when
the Taskmaster didn't talk. Oh my god.
Red Guardian, yeah, should talk. Even like the video game Taskmaster is better.
Talks. Oh my god, like bro, they ruined this.
So they were fighting and they could have had like a voice change to make it look like a guy and then reveal it's a girl. Like that would be
it could
cool
be
too.
a girl, but just give it the Taskmaster personality. Like this one had no personality.
So then what's it called when she's fighting Red Guardian on the ship, she goes in for like a punch and then she just does like a jump punch and like hits him. Like that was the exact Steve Rogers thing, and I think Steve Rogers did it to Iron Man. And then she fights like when she does the claws, those are Black Panther vibranium claws. There's just so much cool things about Taskmaster, like incorporating other fighting scenes into it. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Those are like the little Easter eggs here and there. I like those scenes. The family comedy stuff was jokes. I liked the house scene. That was real.
I hated the house scene. I wanted them out of the house as soon as possible. Then they went to the prison together. I was like, oh my god.
No, they went to the prison before that.
Which house scene are you talking about?
I'm talking about like with Melina and they're like
they're sitting at the table?
Yeah, when he's trying to they're sitting at the table.
They went to prison after that.
No, they went before.
Oh, what I mean by prison is like they went to the red room prison.
Yeah. They went after that. The whole thing was pretty cool. I don't know why like what would you rate it if you didn't like this?
I feel like it was a 6 to me.
It was a 6?
Yeah. No, it was a 6.5. I'm boosting. Like, because the action scenes were really good, but I wasn't enveloped in like the characters like super nicely. Like I wanted to be like, you know when you watch a movie, like I'm cool like with like a brotherhood movie, like it's us two versus everyone. I feel like I wish it was them two versus everyone. Like the family dynamic I wish was like less there and like more serious. I don't know, maybe
they could have been like together fighting the parents too.
Yeah, that would be like, something like that would be sick.
You deserve something.
But I don't know, I just couldn't relate to like the dad and then like the mom.
The dad did give away the daughters and he said something like, I believed in you guys or whatever, but it's like you still put your...
He was a terrible father.
He
trash.
He was good at early on, like the flashbacks. He's like, you're hungry? I got fruit roll-ups in the car, stuff like that. But I want to play my music. He plays American Pie stuff.
That is cool. True. That's true.
Yeah, so he did little things here and there. Overall, I'm surprised at 6.5. I rated it 8.5 off first watch, and I was like, I didn't know if I was doing it too high, too low. Like, I just overall enjoy the movie, and there wasn't, like, a lot of things that I could pick off where it's like, that was terrible, that was terrible, that was terrible. It was more so just, like, the action scenes were just too much at times. Like,
remember when, in the action scene, like, she was flying the helicopter? I can't remember fully now, but, like, they were shooting at her, and then there's one spot, like, I'm just like, why did the regular guy stop shooting at her? And then, like, the other guy was, like, shooting at her. Like, they gave her time to, like, get the bazooka and stuff like that. She got the
bazooka. She's standing outside. The chopper is still in air. She's standing outside. I'm like, we can't shoot that.
No,
like,
boost. And then Widow was on the bridge and they were having a conversation or whatever. And there's still people that should be shooting at
Widow, yeah.
And I'm 100%. Like, yo, what is going on here? Like, this is... I was like, yeah, nah, this is too fake for me.
Bro, like, imagine we were playing, like, a video game and, like, we're facing enemies. We're on the same team. You know how much we would hear it, like, talking shit to each other?
No, boost. That was washed. So, it didn't ruin the movie for me because the other action scenes were really good. But I felt like those were like the weak parts of like. Do you think it's like a top in terms of like action scenes? Like, do you think it's on the top when it comes to action scenes in Marvel?
No.
Aside from like those little mistakes, or those little mistakes can't be overlooked.
I can't overlook them. They were like too big. Like, I was questioning it while I was watching it.
Because the fights were choreographed perfectly.
The hand-to-hand combat.
It was so sick.
So I wouldn't say top. I would say like mid-tier, above mid-tier.
And Taskmaster was. But Taskmaster would throw, when she threw the shield and like they're on the escalator and she threw the shield to like get them, I was like, it just felt super sick. Like they were sliding down and then the shield was like following them and it got stuck. I don't know what it is. Like, it doesn't sound sick, but like that was like pretty sick.
Off the escalator?
Yeah. That was sick. Like, it was like
Taskmaster was decent. Like, it was cool up until that. I knew he was like a robotic thing, the way he was standing when they first showed him. Yeah. And I was like, I hope they don't do this. And then they ended up doing it. But neither here nor there. Do you think the Black Widow movie does Black Widow justice? Like, does it make you like her more? Does it make you her like do you like her less?
I think for fans of Black Widow, like, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed because they wanted to see more of like how she grew up in her past. Yeah. And this did like a terrible job of like doing that. But I think if you wanted to see her like in action, then like I think like you got like a lot of action.
The thing is, like, we've already got action, but
with Black Widow, right? So like more history. They could have done more with her character. I feel like they really didn't do much with her character, and now we know like, well, this is her last movie. Possibly her last movie because she's dead in the MCU.
So I wanted to ask, like, I assume just by your answers, you think this was like too comedic, or like they weren't like on point in terms of being serious or not. What did you expect going in? Because you did watch the trailers, and we know trailers give you a lot of like time. Like,
they showed a lot of action in the trailer, so I expected it to be like a hunt for something. Like they were actually like. I thought Taskmaster was going to be the main villain, right? So I would like to see them like trying to chase and catch Taskmaster, and then like Taskmaster was like avoiding them, like he was the villain that they were after and stuff like that.
Taskmaster was really like, if you think about it, just a side piece.
Like, yeah, like so useless, and like no,
he's like a top bodyguard pretty much.
That's what I wanted. Like I wanted Taskmaster to be the main villain, and them like trying to go on a chase and a hunt. But it seemed less of like they were being hunted, and then they were like the house. There was too much like family stuff, like, and then like even the end goal of them like trying to like, I guess their end goal was to kill that guy. Yeah. And then like they succeeded in like packing him, but like it just didn't feel satisfying to me. So like at the end of the movie, it didn't really feel like they did accomplish a lot, but I didn't get that vibe like, yo, this is what we were working for at the beginning of the movie to accomplish, and we finally accomplished it. So I didn't get that like satisfaction, which the movie made me feel like I was gonna get satisfaction. But it did show action, and the action was up to par with what I expected.
They also could have just done like you're saying, like, I think the issue that I'm having now, reflecting back on it, was it was portrayed that finding the Red Room was hard. Like nobody knows about its moves, locations, but they talked to two different people that they just happened to be close with prior. Yeah, and then boom, they got there.
They got into the Red Room. Technically, they did kind of like, they didn't know where it was, and they had to like snitch on themselves to get there.
I guess.
Then that was like the way they did it. Hey, did you watch 5 Underground?
5 Underground?
Yeah, it's like a Netflix movie. It's like an action movie.
Is it 9 Underground with...
maybe it might be 9 Underground.
With Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I finished it.
You did. Yeah, I remember you did watch it. Yeah. I thought the movie was going to be like that. Like, that movie had me on edge. Like, this movie didn't really have me on edge.
There was a lot of action scenes in that movie, too.
There's so much. And it was really good, but the action scenes took me somewhere. Where do you think Yelena... Like, how far do you think Yelena goes in, like, the new MCU? Like...
She's going to be a part of that team that Val's creating. And I feel like Taskmaster could be part of it too.
I would want to see Taskmaster on that.
Yeah, you could.
With some emotion, like with some personality.
Anti-heroes, yeah. I don't know. I feel like Taskmaster is kind of like washed right now.
You think so?
Yeah, like you put her in anything, but it doesn't really like...
I still like to see the fights with Taskmaster.
It connects you, yeah.
She is washed, but like I still want to see the fights with Taskmaster. Like I don't want to give up on the fact that like they, don't get me wrong, they ruined Taskmaster, but I don't want to give up on the fact that like she could come back and be sick. Like the fights were sick, but everything else was not. And I hope they don't make her lose to some bum. I'll be cheesed.
Oh, you could also make it like a task. How old do you think that girl is now?
Maybe 17. Antonia? She looks like she's 42.
Antonia?
The girl, the Taskmaster girl? Yeah, she looks mad old. Damn, bro, they cut all her hair off, and then like she has like her face is burned and stuff like that.
So what you could do is like she leads a regular life, and then doesn't want to have to do with anything, but she stores the Taskmaster fit, and then just because of her, maybe like her DNA was changed or her mental makeup was changed, and she was able to mimic things. She has a son, and then that son like grows up to be like the actual Taskmaster, who's like disgusting.
He would be like 8 or 9 though.
Trained, yeah. At this moment,
yeah.
No, because it would only be 2 years prior to her getting free. So he'd be born just now, but she could train him later on, and then train her with all the knowledge she has, and then he can continue watching things and then be just disgusting. But that's like a future thing. But you couldn't. That means you wouldn't be able to have Taskmaster early on.
I don't think they'll ever do that, but it would be cool. But I don't think they'll ever do that. Like I think we'll have to settle with the taskmaster we have, and then like hope that they fix up the character to be more like personable.
I don't like Val.
You don't like Val?
I don't like her.
She's mad funny. I gotta watch the end credit scenes.
She's just gonna continuously do things like, I don't know. There's like there is some comedy to the end credit scenes, whatever. Another like what's it called? Easter egg was like, you know, when the guy that brings Natasha stuff, like passports and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like Fanny Longbottom, and he's like, yeah, like it's a real name. What do you want? And then she calls Yelena calls her dog Fanny because she said she wanted a dog, and then she ends up naming it Fanny.
Oh.
So that's one thing.
Was that guy? Was he with Yelena at the time?
No. So
I wonder if
Natasha must have said something. But I don't know. There's a lot of things I liked. There's a lot of things you disliked. I gave it an 8.5, and I do feel like sometimes it was higher, but it was just off like the first viewing. Yeah. And I was entertained and I was engaged. So I'll have to like revisit it and then see if
that means you must have really liked it.
I did like it. It was just funny. I was actually laughing. Like, I was just jokes. Like, Alexis show, bro, he reminded me of our friend Aaron so much because he's like, I don't know. It was just like he was putting on the costume. He was like, yo, it still fits. What's up? And then he's like, Natasha, I need to talk to you. And he had that Russian accent. He's like, I need to talk to you.
Yo, I could actually see Aaron saying that. I didn't actually.
Did he say something to me? Yo, it's just.
Yo,
funny,
I need to talk to you. Yeah, that, to be honest, that I could see that now, like 100%.
Or like, I've had a conversation, or we've had a conversation with a group, and then like Aaron says something, and like I'm already mad at this point, so I'm like, yo, shut up, like it's whatever. And then he's like, oh, what's wrong with this guy? Like something like this. So when he said, oh, well, no, he said, Alexa said, whoa, is it your time of the month? Like, what's up?
Yeah.
That clicked for me so much. I was like, yo, that's just mad funny. He was just jokes to me. He was probably like your
favorite?
Second best. Yelena was probably my favorite. I actually
didn't like him at all.
Yo, he was jokes. You gotta rewatch it and just like, I don't know. It was funny, man.
No, I could see how people find it funny, and I don't want to be mad at the show because I didn't find it funny, but it wasn't what I was looking for. My
last question before I ask you to rate it and like if you recommend it, my last question would be like, how did you find the ending? Like, Dreykov is dead. Like, he shouldn't be able to come back at this point. The helicopter exploded and then he landed on the ground. Like, that's all I need to know. The other widows are freeing each other. Black Widow like basically just gets arrested by Thaddeus Ross, and Melina and Lexus dip out. What do you think's gonna happen, or how did you find the ending?
I found it like very unsatisfying. Like, I just like when it ended, I was like, dang, like I kind of wanted it to end at that point because like I was kind of bored, but I was like, damn, like this is it. And then it was like whatever for me. Like, it didn't really feel super sick to me. It didn't really feel like so special. Like, I didn't really feel like we did a lot. She ended up having to separate from her family anyways. So like,
she went to go fix the actual
the actual family, but like, I don't know. It wasn't like fulfilling to me. Like, was it fulfilling to you? Like, did you watch it like, yo, this?
I don't know if I would say it was fulfilling, but it's like it connected from one point and then to the next point. Even though I didn't need a connector, it just ended up happening. But Ross seems like he's very involved. So he could end up being like the boss of Val.
Yeah.
And he instructs her to create this team off grid, off paperwork.
Yeah.
So he's like very involved. So if he ends up getting close to what like the Red Room has, like in terms of mind control or super soldier stuff, he can control Abomination more, and Abomination might come back. You never know. So there's a lot of things that can happen. Like, there's a lot of groundwork that's been sort of laid, I guess.
Do you think that if you watched it in theaters, it would be way better? Or do you think that watching it at home changed like how you like looked at the movie?
I think I was able to get more detail watching it at home.
Yeah.
But the experience would be better in theaters with everybody.
Yeah. You could tell it was meant for the theaters with like the action. Like the way the action was set up, it was definitely meant for the theaters. I can
see why like Disney wanted to like hold off on it because like they'll make a lot of money off of this. Especially with like the states being open now. For us, I don't think so, because not a lot of people want to pay $29.99 after already paying for the service. So overall, I can see what they were doing. They thought this was going to be a hit, and I think overall, like ratings wise, will really enjoy this.
We'll see what happens in the future, to be honest. But rating, so I would rate it a 6.5. I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone that was like, unless they're gonna like watch all the Marvel movies. Yeah, so I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone. But
what about people that are like girl power? Like, would you?
Nah. Like, I wouldn't tell my sisters like, oh, like, you need to watch this. Like, this was that sick. Like, even though the movie kind of like was like leaning towards that, like it wasn't that sick to me. I don't know if they would really rock with it. But would you? I know you're definitely gonna be recommending.
I would recommend it, and not even like. Maybe not so much if you're like already a Marvel head, because I'd assume you watch it. I don't know how much rewatch value this has.
I think it has none.
I don't think it has too much, but I thought it was good. It was funny. It was entertaining. So yeah, why not? You got nothing better to do, so just toss it on there. Stay less. Anything else you want to add? Nah, I'm straight. We got it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Again, there's podcast links below, and then you should be seeing a pop up on the left and right, I think. Left and right. And those pop-ups should show you like some of our previous videos. And with that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one. Loki next week, Wednesday finale. Oh yeah, Loki finale. This video is probably gonna come after. Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Whenever the video drops, watch the Loki finale episode, and we'll do like a recap on everything Loki. All right, easy, guys.